Hi, today I want to show you how you can build an AI video generator using VO3 from Google. We're going to set this up without having to write a single line of code. It's going to be fully no code. So let's get right started with it. It's pretty exciting. So we need to have access to VO3, and we can get access to that model using replicate.com, which is like Amazon for AI models, essentially. There are many providers from Google to Facebook, and they offer their AI models on this platform, and Replicate is kind of like the marketplace where you can get access to them. So let's make sure you have a Replicate account. You put your credit card on there. Make sure to put a spend limit on there. And right here you will see the curl command. Now, we don't want to run this directly on our front end because then we're going to expose our API key. So we want to run this as a proxy. You also want to consider that it's $6 per 8-second video, FYI. But I'm going to risk it today for you. I'll definitely change my API key after that. But let's get it set up. So let's go on API. Ooh, what's going on with Xano? Okay. Oh, there you go. Let's add a new API group. Let's call this VO3. Let's save this. Perfect. Let's create a new API group here. And let's add a custom API endpoint. And we'll do VO3. Okay, and this will be a post endpoint. And we'll do, or let's call this generate. We'll do this generate. And then we'll be a post. And then we'll have this saved here, right? So now we want to duplicate this because now we need to actually create a database that will store the videos that are generated. So let's go to the database. Let's just create a database called VO3, and we'll do UUID and we'll disable this. Now we'll add that table, and now let's just start adding an example record here. Let's just put the storage for a video metadata, and let's call this video. There you go. So we're now storing the videos with an ID, so we can kind of like poll for them. There you go. So now we need to go to our endpoint here, and we want to add an input called prompt, and we'll make it required, and then we'll add that input here. Now we're calling an external API in Xano, and now we're going to import the curl. So we go to replicate, we're copying this curl, and we should be able to paste it in here. Let's check that out, and let's import. As you can see, we're importing the curl. Let's just change the type here. Okay, and let's take a look at this here. So we need to now take the body from this curl, which couldn't be fully parsed, so we will just manually do that, and we'll just paste it right inside of here. And it seems like they have some formatting issues with their stuff, so let's go to JSON, copy this, let's go back here, put it in here with filters. There you go. So now we go to the prompt, and we'll link the prompt with the input of the prompt. That's how simple that is. Now I'm just going to put my replicate API token in here, which you should do as an environment variable, but I'm just doing this for the sake of convenience here. We'll copy that. And now I'm going to put it right inside of here, and we're going to apply. Okay, so now we probably want to give this a very long timeout of like 3,000 seconds because it will probably take some time to run. So let's make prompt video of a cute puppy eating cereal on the sofa. There you go. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Let's run this. And additional prompt is not allowed. Required input is required. Input additional property enhance is not allowed. Additional property prompt is not allowed. Interesting. Okay. Let's take a look at their documentation again. So let's see. We have enhanced prompt, JSON, enhanced prompt. Let's look at the HTTP, enhanced prompt. Oh, we need to put it in an input object. Gotcha. So this is how the API needs to structure it. So we need to copy this, and we need to go to the API, and we will need to delete those. So let's delete them. Okay. And here we're going to set a path called input. Okay. And we're going to paste this one in here with filters, and then we go in here, and then this will be linked with our prompt, and we'll save this, and we'll save, and let's run again. That should do the thing. Now, if it loads longer than 3 seconds, that's usually a good sign. Now, it'll load a little bit before we get something, so I'll do some editing magic, just like this. So now we got a response. I just spent $6. I just got a Stripe invoice from them. So I don't hope that we have to run this API too much, but you will see that we now have this URL in here. And I think let's take a look at this web URL in our browser. What's on here? Oh, that one. Okay, and we will see that, look at that. We got the video in here. How cute is that? Cute. Okay, we also have a stream. Let's take a look at the stream. And there is no stream because it, oh, remove the comma. And the stream is the video. Okay, perfect. So we just want to get the stream. Oh, I don't want to go back. Oh no, now I gotta run it again and spend some more money. It's another $6. Please go to the link in the video in case we end up spending more than $200 today, and then drop some dollars in there. No, I'm just kidding. Unless you want to. Let's just run this again and spend another $6. Well, this really hurts. Normally it's more fun working with APIs, but this really hurts. I'm starting to get all the Stripe invoices. Ooh. We'll do another cut. So $6 later, we got the response again. So let me just create a variable here called stream. We'll do that stream, and that will be the video, right? So we'll just put this in here, results, and we will take URLs, and then we'll do stream. That's the video, right? We also have this one get. I don't know what that one is doing. Let's try this one as well. Maybe that's a better one. Maybe we should use that. Let's see. Oh. No, it's not doing anything. Okay, so we're fine. Let's go back to generate. The stream is the video. That's plenty of what we need. So now when we have the stream, we will now need to set this up. Now the problem is this takes 60 seconds, which is 30 seconds over what the browser allows us to run. So we need to create a polling system. So now we're going to add record, and we're going to add record to our VO3 database, and there will be no video added yet. So we'll save this here, we'll add the record. Then we're doing the API request, but we're doing this in a precondition. So we'll do a precondition, and not a precondition, apologies, a post process. It all starts with P, but it's completely different. Sorry, we'll do a post process, okay, which allows us to run things asynchronously. So we're going to put the API in the post process, the create variable under it in the post process, and then once we have the stream, here's what we're going to do with that stream URL. We will then turn this URL into a file resource. So we'll add create file resource. The file name will be video MP4. I think it's MP4, I hope. And then we'll put the stream URL in here. We'll call this file resource. We'll save this. Then we have the file resource. We'll create a video attachment out of it. The value will be file resource. I will call that video. And then we're going to add that video into the database. So we add that record here in our database. Let's just call it VO3 underscore record. So it's not VO31 because that will probably be like $60 a minute. And now we're going to add an edit record here in Xano. We're editing the VO3 record. We'll put this in here. and we'll take this VO3 record ID. So we're editing it. And then in the video, we're going to put the video variable here with the video attachment, right? And this will be called VO underscore record, VO3 underscore record, right? We'll save this, and then this one will just return the VO3 record. So here's how this API will be working. When we run this will post-process it. Now, I'm not going to post-process it yet. I'm just going to put it in a group so I can easily move it around. There you go. So I will put them all in a group here, and I will run it one time outside, and then we'll run it one more time inside, and I will need to increase my spend limit on replicate because I'm running out of available credits here. So let's save this. Okay, one more time. Another $6. Let's just run this, and then we'll do a cut. Let's run, and let's hope this works. Let's do a cut. So now when we run this, we will see that there's actually an issue where there is a missing file resource. So if I take a look at the stream here, if I take a look here, I will get the stream URL. Now, I just want to copy the stream URL, and because I'm not running the API again, that's too expensive, we're just going to hide those blocks. And I want to see, can we even turn this file data into something that will work? So let's see if this will be created into a successful file resource. Let's see. Oh, and it always takes the wrong one in Xamarin. They do have their fuzzy search is a little bit fuzzy. But let's do a stop and debug here. And let's go here. Let's turn the file resource and let's see what's going on. Okay, we're getting the file resource. That's good. Let's see if we can create an attachment from this file resource, and let's see if we're getting the video. That is maybe actually where it will start breaking. So no, we actually do get this. Okay, this is good. So let's try opening this from our server. So let's duplicate our URL here. Let's route it in here, and let's see. And this is a valid video, and it looks pretty cute. Oh, look at that. So it does actually work. So why is this not working with the edit record? It may be the edit record. Let's try running VO3 record again, and let's run this. And it does seem to edit the record, and that seems to work. So let's run this again. The issue with the stream actually may be that it takes a few seconds, possibly, to get it all sorted out, and now it takes lots of time to load. So what I want to do is actually after we get this API and we define the stream, I want to add maybe like a little sleep of like 30 seconds. You see, this is now where it fails. I want to maybe add a little sleep to just have it pause a little bit. But you see how we have this file resource not working? I think there may be some, it may be a little bit unreliable in how we get the video. So let's, oh, that's the path. So let's see if there's something we can do about it. So let's turn this on. Let's give it like a, let's do like 20 seconds. Let's just wait for, you know, their servers to set it all up correctly. With AI, sometimes you gotta wait a little bit and set those things up. But I have a good feeling about this. Let's see, let's publish this. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, should I run it one more time? Forget about it, I'll just do it, $6. Let's run it one more time, let's hope it works. I've probably spent, this is the most I've ever spent making a video so far. Like every time you click the button, it's $6. But it's for educational purposes, so there is a meaning to it. Give it a thumbs up. I've already spent like I think $20, so thumbs up, share with your friends, and if you want to keep up those expensive spending videos, take a look at nocodeprocode.com, join the membership, so we have more money to spend that on V0, not V0, on VO3 credits. There you go. So we'll be waiting, and I'll get another $6 invoice from them. So now this API ran through successfully. So let's take a look at the database, because it seems to be working now. And as you can see, we got the video. Cute. And that was just right now. There you go. Beautiful. So let's delete this. As you can see, we're getting the record right here. We also have the file, and let's try opening the file here on the link. Yeah, that works perfect. So now we got the backend set up, which is quite expensive. And now we need to move this into the post process. So we're just kicking this off after the API returned a response, so we can integrate with a polling system, which is kind of like how you want to structure those kinds of more complicated AI setups. So VO3 record, that looks good. So now we have a API. Now we need to have another API that will be a GET request called fetch, and this will fetch the video. So in here we'll fetch this, we'll add an input of ID, because when we run it, remember, it gives us the record ID back. So we'll put the ID and we'll make it required, and it will do a GET record in the VO3 database with the ID, and it will then return this as VO3 underscore record. And we'll save this and we'll update the preferences. Now when we run this with the appropriate record from our database, which does not exist, so let's just copy this ID. If we put it in here, you will clearly see that we're now getting the database record back of this generation. And if there's no video, we will, on the front end, call it as long as there is a video. So we will need to build a recursive workflow that kind of like runs in a loop. So now let's connect this with our front end without accidentally clicking the generate a few times, which I don't want. So for that, because I don't want to spend another $6, let's just deactivate this step. Now Xano comes really handy. Let's copy the endpoint URL and let's go back to Nordcraft. And in Nordcraft, I'm going to add my API in here, and I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to make it a post. I will call this generate, right? And I will add my parameter for prompt. And now we have that API in here. So now we need to build like a little interface where the user can build this. So let's take a look. We have some components. Do we have some cool pre-built stuff? No. So let's build it from scratch. Let's add a div block here. Let's do width 100%, max width 25 rem. I will give it a side padding of 1 rem by 1 rem. There you go. And then inside of here, we're going to add a video element. There you go. And then this video element, I'm just going to, do I still have something I can paste in here? No, that's just an ID. Okay, we'll just keep it empty for now. We'll have the video element. And then inside of here, we'll just have this here. There you go. We'll have this. So let's give it some 1 rem border radius. Let's make it look pretty. And let's go in here. Let's just make this black for now. There you go. So we'll make this 0.75 rem. And then we'll make this actually 2 rem or 1.75 rem. Very nice. And then we'll add a border of 2 pixels, and then we'll do gray 200. There you go. Beautiful. And then we can add some shadow to it to make it look very stunning. I'll do 20. Look at this. Very nice. It looks almost like a TV or like an iPad. So now that we have the video, we can remove the background. Okay. And now we have the video. And over this video element, I want to make sure that actually this video doesn't have any border. We will wrap this video element in div block. And this div block needs to be 16:9. Very important. And then the video element will be width 100%, height 100%, and we will make it object fit contain. right? And then we'll go on this element. This element will have overflow clip. So we'll do overflow clip. So we'll do overflow clip, clip, clip. And then we'll do border radius 0.75 rem. There you go. And then we'll add a border of 1 pixel, gray 200, just like that. And then inside of here, I want the user to enter the prompt inside of here. So now in here, I'm going to add another div. This div is going to be absolute over it. There you go. And we'll make it margin 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, not margin, my bad. Not margin, I need inset. I don't need margin, I need inset, inset. Okay, so we'll go here and we'll do inset 0, 0, 0, 0, right? And I need to make it absolute. There you go. So now in here, I'm going to give it a background that's slightly white and a little bit like this. And then I'm going to do like some backdrop filter. And then I'll do blur 30 pixels. There you go. Backdrop filter, blur 30 pixels. And then inside of here, I'm going to put a text area. So I'll just first give it some rem, some padding, 1 rem, 1 rem. And then I'm going to add a text area. There you go. And we're going to make this width 100%, height 100%, just like that. Then inside of this div, I'm going to add a button so we can click on generate. And that button will have width 100%, height 0.5 rem. And then in order for it to appropriately match, we'll make this flex 1 so it fits the content. We'll center it in here. And then this button, it's going to get a very nice background. We're going to give it some cool gradient. We'll take some blue, some like 600 blue, and then it'll go into like a little bit of a darker blue. It'll go into like a 800 blue. Look at that. And then we're going to give it a 0.75, 0.5 rem border. I'll make the text in here fully white. And then we're doing generate with AI. Look at that. And then we're going to make the text look super fancy. We'll center a line, do letter spacing 0.3 pixels. And we're going to go on the font, and the weight will be 400. Look at that. Looks like an AI startup that just raised like $5 million. And then we're going to do a 1 rem on here. There you go. And then inside of here, I want to make this resize none. So I'll do resize none so it looks super stunning. Now I can write inside of here and I can put my prompt. We can maybe even give it more of a 3D effect. So let's, or do we need to? Let's see. No, I don't think we need to. Let's just give it a little bit less padding build. 0.5 rem by 0.5 rem, and then we'll make this 0.5 rem. Yeah, I think that looks beautiful. Look at that. Okay, and then where I want some padding is in the text area. We'll give it 0.5 rem by 0.5 rem. And then we'll just make the text inside of here also look very nice. We'll do 15 pixels. We'll do weight 400. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. So now the only thing we need to do is have a little loader in here so the user doesn't click it 20 times because that does cost us some money. So let's go to CSS, loaders. Let's go to this beautiful website that has some of the nicest loaders for free on the internet. We'll copy our favorite loader. We'll paste it right inside of here. Don't click that. And then I will copy my CSS. I'll go back to Nordcraft and I'll add my style tag. We'll go in here. I'll paste it in here. Okay, now I need to adjust the CSS. We'll make it 18 pixels by 18 pixels. There you go. And then we'll make that 2 pixels. And now we look at that. We got this nice loader. So now we just need to go on the text. We'll show and hide the text. When generate is loading not, we'll show it. and then we'll only show this span, that is the loader, when generate is loading. So then when we click on it, it'll work. So now we can go on this button, and then if I click on the button, I can generate this right inside of here. So now when I click, see, it loads. Now in this example, we're getting this record back. It creates the record, but the good thing is I'm not running the expensive part yet, which is intentional. But now it looks stunning. So here's what we need to do. We need to track some of the state. So let's create this variable, and let's call this variable generating, right? And generating by default will be false, right? Generating will be false. So in here, we will have this, and then when generating is false, we will then update the state. So in here, we have this div block, and we want to show and hide this div block. If generating is not false, we will show it. So let's say I click on this button here, and then on success of this API, let's say it would be successful, but we will need to adjust it. But if now generating would be true, and I click on here, you would see that it loads, and then it removes this element, because then we will see the video. Now it will take a little bit, but you will get the idea. So let's just reload so we can set it up very nicely. Perfect. Now we want this to animate. So I'll go on style, and I'll set up starting style. Starting style will have an opacity of 0, and then the default will have a transition of all elements 300 milliseconds. So we have a nice animation. I can then just duplicate this element if I want to and remove everything that's in it. And then inside of here, I will just borrow my loader and put it in here, right? And I'll just remove the height on it, and I will go on this element and I will center it, right? And then I'll wrap this in an element, and I will add an H3 on it, and I will say working, and I will center this, and I'll do 0.25 rem. And then in here, I'm going to make this size 14 pixels, weight 400, and I'll do letter spacing minus 0.3 pixels. And then we'll maybe give it some more padding, working. Look at that. I do like that. That looks beautiful. And now I want to have a little span in here. And I'll put some text in it, and I'll say, don't leave the page. Don't leave the page. Okay. And then we'll go in here, or actually they can leave the page, so we can remove that because we're smart. We're going to integrate it. Okay. So now we got this working thing, and then this working thing is bound to this one. And then this one, we don't need to bind that to anything, actually. This will just be visible. So let's make sure that generating is false. So this one here should, if generating is false, it shouldn't be shown. There you go. Perfect. So now let's just reload. And now we can start integrating it. So now I go to this text area, and now I need to have a variable for the prompt. So let's call this prompt. And it'll start out as an empty string. And now when I go to this text area, I'll bind it with the prompt variable. So when I type in here, cat eating noodles, now we will see that the prompt is saying cat eating noodles, right? There you go. So now when we go to this generate API, I can go to my parameter, and I can put the prompt inside of here, cat eating noodles. And if I run it, we'll see we get this going, right? So now we need to create this polling process. So we are not calling the API because it costs money. We're going to set it up once it's fully done. So we need to now connect with the second API that we have generated, which is the fetch one that does the polling, that has the ID of the generation. So let's copy that, paste that in here, and then we're going to call this fetch, and then we'll put the parameter in here. Parameter will be ID. Now where does the ID go? The ID actually goes into the URL. So in here, we'll do a query parameter, or yeah, we can just do a query parameter. We'll call this ID, and then I'll just put a sample ID in here actually. So let's go on a fetch on the database, and let's take a sample ID. Let's take a sample ID, and let's just go here and put the sample ID in here. We'll later link it with a real one that has a project. And then on fetch here, we are not making the server set, or we can make a server set rendered. It really depends on a few factors. And then we go on the ID and we'll link it with the ID from the parameter, right? So now when we load it, we're getting this record back. Now, if it is, if it has the video null here, then we need to recall it in like 10 seconds to see if something is already coming back, right? So we now want to start a workflow, a recursive workflow essentially to do this, to start this fetching. So I want to create a workflow here. Let's call this polling. This is how we call this in programming. We'll do polling generation, okay? And now with the polling, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run the fetch call. On success on fetch, I will make a switch. There you go. And then if fetch data video equals null, meaning there is no video yet, null, then, so let's go in here and let's name this. Let's say no video yet. Then I'm going to sleep for 15 seconds. And then I'm going to call this workflow again until something comes back. And that is a recursive workflow. Now, you probably, when the workflow starts, we just want to add a console log to see how this is working. And we will call this workflow. And it's saying polling, right? So this is kind of like how I build a recursive workflow. So now when I go on this button here to generate it, on success, we are not doing the generating, but we are now actually doing generating true because it runs the recursive workflow. Or no, actually we can take the generating state and put it in the recursive workflow. So we're now running the polling generation workflow. And then when this workflow runs, we make sure that generating is set to true. And then when there is a video, right, meaning this is not true, then we're doing generating false, right? And then we would set the video. Okay, so now there you go. That's how you do this. So let's reload this. And let's take a look at the console here and how this would work. So let's just make it a little bit bigger. And let's take a look at the console. If I were to go in here, and if I were to say, hey, and I generate with AI, you see now it does the workflow polling, Oh, we're doing it, oh, I forgot, we need to have a little bit more zeros in here, because we need to have this workflow be one more zero, because this is now 1.5 seconds, not 15, and I want it to be 15 seconds. So we're not just spamming our backend, but you see we're calling a recursive workflow, and there is no breaking out of it. So we probably want to break out of it at some point, right? So let's call this safe break. Let's call it loop tracker, and we'll just start with 0, and every time we'll loop, we'll add 1 to it. And then we can stop it at like 120 or something, just to avoid our backend being spammed, right? So when we start this, we will do loop tracker. We'll take the current loop tracker variable, we'll add 1 to it, right? And then on success here, we will only call this recursive workflow again. So we'll put another switch, a safety switch in here. Let's call this only if under 50 tries. So then only if under 50 tries, the formula will be loop tracker less than 50. True. And only then we will fire off the new polling calling the workflow again. So there are some limits and we don't have it run endlessly. Very important, right? So now it looks stunning. Now it pinch a little bit, but I will activate it again so we can start paying $6 per generation. So let's go and generate and let's turn it on. And let's publish this. And let's just refresh the page. I want to make sure this works perfectly now. And we will start it. Oh my god, I'm scared. Let's inspect elements here. I want to get my money's worth, right? So let's just put generate with AI. And let's say news. Oh no, let's do TikToker using a skateboard to program a PHP app together with the Linux Penguin as a 3D real life person / animal. Cute. Somehow. Weird. Okay, I forgot how to spell weird, so this is enough for now. Okay, let's generate with AI. And you see now it fired off the generate endpoint. It fired off the fetch. And oh, someone forgot something. I forgot something. You see how... Oh, I gotta fix it. It's good enough, but I forgot something. So when we fire off this generate API, right, it will give us the ID. We need to update this parameter here. So when we go on this form here, or where the heck did I put it? Okay, when we go on this action on success, right, we need to set this ID in the URL. And we'll need to set it with the generate data ID. So it sets it, right? This is very important because otherwise we're pulling for the wrong thing. But let's just fix it for now. So let's go back here because we have this API here and it just reloads the fetch all the time. But we have this response here with this new ID for this penguin, and I hope it looks cool. So let me just put it inside of here, but that is important that you consider that. And let's exit that. That does not help. Okay, let's put that in here. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now the cool thing about us having this in the query parameter is the user can reload the page and the polling still continues, right? And you see we're always calling the fetch until it doesn't equal null anymore. So we're waiting as long as it generates, right? So that is something that is pretty cool. And then we're calling it every like 15 seconds. So now we're waiting for it to continue polling, and then we should get a response back. So I will make a little magic cut, and then I will let you know if something happens. And I won't cut anything. I'll be honest with you, but fingers crossed. So now we do have something coming back here. So you see it's done, but we see that this is still here. So we need to adjust this a little bit. So we need to have a little bit better state management. So we will need to create a variable that will be creating. That will be by default true, right? Creating. And then this creating variable here will show and hide this element. So we'll show and hide this based on if creating is true, right? And then when I generate with AI, it will remove creating. So creating will be false. So we'll hide it. And then we have that kind of state to get the video. And then behind here, where this video is, we will then set the source attribute coming from fetch. And we will put the video URL inside of here. Right? And then we will have that video in the background. So if I now do creating false, we will see there's my Linux penguin. And we will do controls and we'll do true so I can play the video. And I think that's not how you write controls. There you go. And now we got the video. Look at that. Now, one thing I want to do though is I actually want to change the way the database works, because the file processing adds some overhead because they're not giving us the real-time stream. So I'm going to actually remove this video section. I'm going to add a text area with video, and I will add that column just like this. I will then go to my API. And when we have the sleep, we're going to remove this. We're going to remove the file resource. We're just going to store their URLs because they give us a free CDN. And then after like 1 hour, we can kick off a backend task to start on Bunny CDN or something. And then we're going here on the video and we're then linking this with the stream variable. And we're publishing that. That is a more robust way. And then we just need to put the video, so when we now reload this here with the polling and all those kinds of things, we're then getting the source from the video part, and not from the URL in it, right? And then the creating will be default true. There you go. So now when I open this application, this should now fully work and nicely allow us to generate such a video. So let's go in here and let's do Linux penguin dancing and singing. Dancing and singing. Generate with AI. And you see something's going on. What's happening here? We're polling, but I think we're maybe hiding the wrong elements here. Let's see. We got this here. This should be loading. So it should be generating true when I click on it, right? We'll do generating true. The video may be having some issues. So we want to show and hide the video based on if fetch data video size greater than 0, because I think we may be having some issues where the wrong elements are being shown. You see, now that seems to be way better. And now let's take a look at our database. And now we should start seeing some things pop in here. We did a minute ago. It'll take a little bit. So let's delete those. And let's just wait till we get something in here. Okay, now we got something. So let's take a look at our little polling thing. We need the proper ID. I think that's the wrong ID. So let's copy this ID. It's BF. It starts with BF. No, this should be it. So let's try running and let's make sure that it gets it going. Oh, okay, let's just copy that in here. Let's see to make sure it works. Okay, so now we see we get the video, but we do have it not working like this. So let's put our video in here. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually remove this creating variable. I think that's silly. And we are going to have this element here be hidden and shown based on if the ID variable is size greater than 0. Right, and we'll do it the opposite. So we'll do not. No, it should hide this. I think I'm hiding the wrong thing. This thing here, if size, let's say size equals 0. That's false, so it should be hidden. Okay, now the video should be if there is a video. So let's put this in here and let's try reloading the application in the NoCode editor and let's see if that works. So let's try that out. Okay, so let's take a look. There is a video, but it doesn't show it. So why is this happening? Greater than, oh, we need to remove the not. Okay. So I think that'll do it. Let's try reloading it and let's see what's happening.
Oh, I am the Linux Penguin, so happy to be here with you. Oh, I am the Linux Penguin, so
God,
happy
this is going
to
to
be.
take over Coco Melon. Okay, there you go. So we kind of have something going on here. So we can now, if there is a video already, we can add a button. I already have a nice button. I don't want to reinvent the button, so let's just copy the button and just remove all the events that we have on it. Maybe make it a little bit fine-tuned, and I'll just do fit content, and I'll give it some 0.75 rem, 1 rem, and I'll do 2 rem. There you go, and I will make that start over, right? And then we will remove the gradient. I want to make it look minimal. There you go. And then we'll do the text color. There you go. So when we now click on this button, I just want to set the ID to be null. So it'll start over. So now when I open this in here, we need to adjust some things. But let's try putting the ID in here. So let's do query parameter ID equals. Okay, so now we can access the video that we have generated.
Oh, I am the Linux Penguin, so
if I
happy.
click on start over, you see how it removes the video, but it should reset also the other state. So let's try this again and spend a little bit more money. And we'll remove the creating variable here. Okay. And now what we're going to do is let's clear this out. And you see this one works perfectly. What if I set it to null? If I set it to null, it freaks out. So this is fine. This is the problem. So size equals 0, or we'll do ID equals null. And that'll do the thing. Perfect. And now I can put the Linux Penguin inside of here again. And I only want to show the start over if ID size greater than 0. Okay, so now let's open this. Okay, and now I can say Linux Penguin vibe coding a React app. Okay, let's generate with AI, and now you see it's working. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, this is fun. So there should be a working state, so we gotta hurry up. In 1 minute we gotta figure out what's going on here. So let's go back to NoCode, put that in here, and let's see what variables are not variabling. So it seems to be the loading one. So why is the loading one? Generating is false. Why is generating false? Let's take a look. Generating should be true. Why is that? So that is probably because we didn't click on it. Let's see. While we are polling, so here's what we're gonna do. So when we click this, it should be generating true, right? but also while we're fetching, it should be generating too. So let's delete this generating here. And when we fetch and there is no video yet, we'll set it to be generating true. And then when we go on sleep, where's generating false, else, so no video yet. We need to do size. So we'll do size equals 0. Then that should fix it, right? And then we'll set generating false. So if the size of this is 0, this is true, then we're doing generating. And then if it is, we'll set it to false, which is a Boolean, which would make it stop generating. And then the polling, that is something that should fire off with the workflow. Let's see, how about that? How does that work? Let's reload. Okay. Cute. Okay. And then another thing is when we start polling, I think that should do it. Let's try this. Okay. And let's just go Linux Penguin dancing and singing. Okay, let's generate with AI. And now you see, now it's working, right? It's loading. You can also start over if you want. Now, fingers crossed, I hope it works. And I can stop spending ridiculous amounts of money on this. Let's see, how much did I already spend? I'm afraid to look at it. $42. Okay, well, let's get our money's worth and look at the console. Look at that, it's fetching. And that's how you do polling, essentially. And there you go. We will make it a little bit more robust moving forward, and there are some optimizations in how we set up the polling. But one way of doing it is doing it exactly like this. But what if it's loading and then you reload and then there you go. And now you see we're getting the video. The video is loading. It can take a little bit for the video to load. There is a video coming through though, right? There is a video. Coming right here. That's the video. The link may not be available yet, but there is a video. See, it takes a little bit for the link become available. This is why we had some errors in the video being loaded, because it may not be. There you go. And now you see you got the video.
Linux is fun and it's free for everyone. Let's all dance and sing along now.
Oh my God. I'm gonna download that. There you go. Let's close that. Okay, I'm having too much fun for spending $42 and doing this video, but it is quite fun. So if you have some budget, definitely rebuild this with me in the video. But if you reload, it doesn't get lost. That's the beautiful thing. You can have this forever unless you click start over, right? Then it starts over. Now, one thing, though, that we want to consider is how about we take this polling mechanism and we'll do it a little bit different. So how about we go on this submit button. Where did I put the submit button? Okay, on this button. No, wrong button. On this button, right? We can clear that. And then on success, we're setting the ID. And instead of running the polling, right, we are running the, oh no, what I want to do right now is the definition of an infinite loop, so I'll stay away from doing that. But what we want to do is unload. We also want to run the poll, right? Just so that we're checking for it. We could run it less generously, because my idea was, how about we put the fetch on the poll, and then if the polling was unsuccessful, we're then fetching it. But that does not sound like a good idea. Oh, let's think about it. If I run the fetch and it comes back without something, I will poll again. And until there is something. Oh no, it's an aggressive way, but it's possible. So if I go on events, if I go, because it doesn't reset, it just adds to the loop tracker initially, right? but then the loop tracker limit will be reached sooner without us generating something. So we would need to reset it should it generate something. I think it's not worth doing it that complicated for such a small thing, because if it gets too complicated, you want to set up WebSockets anyway, right? So let's put the polling in here, and then we'll do one thing on load, and we'll do a switch, and we'll do if ID size greater than 0. If that is true, we will start the polling. If that is true, then here's what we're going to do. We are going to, so let's see, let's go in here and let's do if ID, and then we're going to do another switch actually. Oh no, we're first going to fetch. Oh, we have it server-side fetch, so we can just put it directly in the condition. We'll do if ID and no video yet, and then we're doing and we'll take the fetch data video size equals 0. Then we are going to start the polling, so we can fetch it even if we exit the session, right? Then just one thing that we need to consider, because we're losing our limit, we will then, when we start clicking this button, we will set the loop tracker down to be 0 again, right? So we'll reset it, which is what we want to do, right? You see how we're now fetching this and how it now all nicely blends together. Now, there are more efficient ways how you can set it up. If you want to do it very efficient without this kinds of polling and all those API calls, you want to definitely look into WebSockets. But I just want to give you a simple way how you don't have to set up authentication and all those kinds of things, how you can build cool stuff like this and you know, get videos of the dancing Linux penguin. And that's how I do this. And so far we have spent how much? Oh my lord, we did $48 in this video today. So I hope you appreciate this. I'll put, because I spent so much money already, it should be worth it. I will put everything that I've done in here as a template in the video description, so you can clone it for free. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And because we have spent so much money today on AI credits, I do have to make a little bit of advertisement. I'm so sorry for that. But if you are building in Nordcraft, if you're building in Xano, if you want to build stuff like this, and you want to save all the time and money and doing countless trials and errors with such expensive APIs, and you need some expert guidance and knowledge for someone to coach you into the right direction and to say, no, don't go that way, go this way, right? Or do it like this, or no, this will not work, or you have a roadblock and you can't overcome it. Take a look at NoCodeProCode.com. That's the community that I have created with hundreds of hours of courses, dozens and dozens of components, full pre-built application templates, and everything that you need to build your SaaS, your web app, your website super fast without any roadblocks. And then if you have some roadblocks, if you're maybe already working on something, and you just can't seem to figure it out, or it's too inefficient figuring things out yourself, we will have daily office hours from Monday to Friday that allow you to go in a Zoom meeting, in a group Zoom meeting where I will be in, and you will share your screen and I will guide you step by step through the steps and through the process of resolving all your roadblocks and troubles in your application. So if you want that extra help, and if you want to stop wasting time and keep moving and get it out there fast and secure, and you want that peace of mind that, excuse my language, if shit hits the fan, or if it ever will with your application, you have that ability to join the office hours and get it resolved the same day, or send me a Loom asynchronously and I'll respond with one back. Definitely go to NoCodeProCode.com. The link is in the comments below, in the pinned comment, and in the video description. Click on it, go on the link, NoCodeProCode.com, click on Join Us Today, and you can get access starting today to our beautiful office hours to help you resolve any issues and roadblocks, and you will get access to the whole catalog of courses and everything that is inside of that membership, and the personal access to me through the DMs and through the office hours. So if that sounds like a great deal, take a look at that. I can't wait to see you inside of there, and take care.